All right, Success Nation, this is your host, Michael Wong from asiansuccessmagazine.com, where successful entrepreneurs show you how they build companies and achieve success. I'm so thrilled to have Brian Wong today. He's a co-founder and CEO of KIP, a mobile reward network that delivers reward for achievements in apps and games. Brian has been recognized by many awards for his accomplishments and leadership, including the Forbes 30 Under 30 for 2 years in a row, from 2011, 2012, and 13, and Business Insider Top 25 Under 25 in Silicon Valley. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. Are you prepared to inspire?
I'm very prepared to inspire.
Perfect. I've given our listeners just an overview about you, so take a minute and tell us about you personally, because we want to get to know you, and then give us an overview about your business.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Vancouver, Canada. My parents are from Hong Kong originally. I also went to school in Vancouver as well. I went to University of British Columbia. I skipped a few grades in elementary school and high school, so I graduated university when I was 18. And then I ended up moving down to San Francisco to work for another company. This company was at the time growing, very popular, called digg.com, and was sort of similar to reddit.com, but Reddit kind of took over. Now I ended up losing my job and starting my company, Keep, in 2010. So I lost my job. A few months later, came up with the idea, started the company, and 3 years later, doing the same thing and growing the company. We're now 70 people in San Francisco, New York, and I'm loving it.
That's awesome. Okay, Brian, I start the show with our guest's favorite success quote. So, what is your favorite success quote, and how do you apply it to your everyday mentality?
Yeah, I think there's really no specific quote per se. There's stuff like never take no for an answer, create your own luck. Those are some two very simple ones that I follow. Well, really the second iteration is like generating serendipity is really some of the things that I like to align towards. I think when you don't take no for an answer, just because someone made it difficult for you doesn't mean that you should stop. The second would be through luck and serendipity. You basically need to find the right environment to allow yourself to be successful, to allow your strengths to shine. When you're focusing too much on fixing your weaknesses, you don't let what you do really well shine. And for me, I came down to San Francisco because I knew the region of the world was the most conducive to my strengths, right? You don't judge a fish by how well it climbs a tree. And similarly for me, I didn't want to be judged on how well I climbed a tree. I just wanted to be judged well on how I could swim. And San Francisco would let me do that.
That's awesome. I love your quote. Don't take no for an answer. How do you apply that quote to your entrepreneurial journey in San Francisco?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that would look at you and say, okay, you're young, you come from a Canadian background, you don't have an engineering degree, you've got basically focus, you've got this background that may not be the most conducive to being a successful founder, but for me it was completely irrelevant because I had an idea, I was very determined, and again, didn't want to take no for an answer, and so just decided to find people that could help me. I think that's really where it comes down to, is like if you can find people that you know can support you, can help you, and in return you can give them something in return and be able to appreciate them for what they've contributed to your success, then you have a really good ecosystem around you.
Awesome. Hey, I noticed, so you said that you skipped four grades in high school. How did you do that?
Yeah, so I skipped grade 2, 7, 9, and 11. And grades 2 and 7 were in elementary school, and then 9 and 11 were in high school. And these grades were skipped because there's programs in the Vancouver education system that let you skip these grades. Mm-hmm. If you, let's say, took an IQ test, was a few of the grades and how I skipped it. And then also another program where they would have you basically take classes with people who are older than you. Mm-hmm. And so through that, you're able to learn, more advanced things and then accelerate more quickly. So luckily, the Vancouver education system had these things in place.
Do you have any particular techniques or trainings that make yourself ready for that advanced knowledge?
Honestly, just learn what you think you want to learn. I mean, the pace in which you learn in school is typically designed for everybody else. And if you know you can learn faster, just go ahead and learn those things when you can. And now there's really no excuse because you have access to knowledge anytime you want. It isn't limited to just a textbook and whether or not the teacher gives it to you. You can go ahead and find everything online. So really, there's no excuse for learning things ahead of time.
Perfect. All right, let's dig a little bit about Kip then. Before I dig deeper, can you share with the audience where Kip is today as far as the growth rate and maybe revenue, the size of companies as of 2014?
Yeah, we're 8 figures in revenue. We have 70 employees, like I mentioned. Last year, we were at 30 employees, so more than double. We're very excited about our growth, and it's a testament to the model that we created around really hinging on these moments of achievement on mobile. And so a lot of this was a big part of us just looking at existing patterns of behavior, not trying to change people and what they were doing, but rather being a part of the existing games and apps that they were already using and playing every single day. And that allowed us to bring ourselves into as many experiences as we could.
That's wonderful. So the company are you guys on the black yet or still?
As a venture-backed company, you're consistently looking for growth. And if you were to slow down, only then would there be a room for being profitable in the first place. I think when you're looking for growth, you're looking at a market opportunity that's only there for a short period of time. And so being able to spend to get there is very important.
Okay. All right, let's talk about Kip a little bit. It's amazing that majority of people, when they look into advertising, they look at metrics such as impressions and ads, but you look at in terms of moment. Can you talk more about that? How big is that moment inventory?
Yeah, exactly. So the problem with reach and frequency metrics, which are metrics like impressions and also GRPs and other things, if you're familiar with the advertising industry, is that it's very rooted on reach and frequency. You know, how often can you show something to people? And the problem with mobile is that that's not the end all be all. Like having something shown frequently to someone on the phone is really only going to get them to ignore you. So because of that effect, we realize that less is more. And so when you're on the phone, the more important thing to look at is not just impressions, but rather something that's emotionally significant, which is why we looked at moments. So the emotionally significant model was looking at, okay, hey, when you're feeling something on mobile, when you're looking at a game when someone levels up, or when you're in a fitness app and you work out, and you're in a to-do list app and you cross off 3 to-dos, let's say, these are all moments when you actually feel something. So in that moment when you're feeling something, rather than just to throw up an ad, we decided to kind of create this unique model of delighting you with a reward. And that, I think, was the best way to engage with people in a moment when they're feeling something. And that's why we chose the word moments to measure these things, because it fundamentally looks at emotion rather than just, a screen view where something appears.
How big is this moment inventory?
Well, we track almost 600 million of them every month now. So there's a lot of these moments.
So you're saying further that moment is a new currency of hyper engagement. How does that?
Yes.
So what does that mean to advertisers?
It means that people who are in those moments are paying more attention, are feeling something, but ultimately are potentially someone that you don't want to piss off, right? So if you're in that moment, you got to put your best foot forward and to reward them, which is what we recommend. If you're there just to show something or show a video, you're just going to get a negative response. So we help them succeed in those moments.
So what does it mean to small business owners? I try to see, from your knowledge, I try to get them to see this is the new trend.
I think the implications for small business owners are very simple. When you are able to find things that your customer is already doing, right? It doesn't have to be on mobile. It's just a principle to apply in loyalty and retention and consumer engagement, is if you find them when they're doing something that they're already doing and you're able to delight them in that experience, you can create a lot of sort of love. These are, I wouldn't know how to apply it, but just think about every day, look at the moments that your consumer is already engaged in. What do they do every day? What is the most ideal moment in time to be there to delight them and figure out a way to do it? It could be in real life. It could be through mobile experience. It could be through the web. Who knows? These are all things that I think are exciting to do.
What makes you believe so much about this concept versus you can do some improvement on the existing advertising model?
I think the fundamental advertising model is broken is the main reason, because people are accepting a terrible user experience in return for a free service. You use a free service, you get a bunch of ads, and you're expecting it to be terrible. I don't think any industry should ever be expected to be terrible, is basically the bottom line, right? Once you expect something to be terrible, it's a vicious cycle all the way down. And I think advertisers deserve more. I think they deserve the ability to interact with the consumer without them thinking of them as a nuisance.
But you're talking about big things, like for example, Google right now they have billions of impression on the inventories, and when this model, how does your model compete with the old impression model?
It doesn't compete. I think we actually add
Add
on.
on,
We
yes.
cannibalize. I think we can have people do the normal model they wanted to, but then we kind of come in and we become an incremental model to help push things forward.
Let's circle back a little bit as a business owners. What are some of the tactics that you can see that they can leverage on the platform that Keep has?
Yeah, I think we've worked with having local businesses, primarily more businesses that are e-commerce enabled, at least from a smaller scale. So our SMB business clients are folks that run their own e-commerce sites. These guys sign up basically to give away rewards, which would be like credits or free shipping offers or things that are already part of their arsenal, and then use that to acquire customers. So we've been using that as our main tactic, and it's done very well. You can go and sign up at keep.com/self-service.
So let's say, for example, if I have somebody, let's say, had a jiu-jitsu school, then how do they leverage into Keep platform?
A free lesson, right? So I'm sure they already give that away, your first lesson for free. Just
Right.
use that as a reward and push it out and geolocate it to the city that you're operating in.
Hold on. So you're saying that use the first class as a reward on the mobile phone,
Yes.
and then but how do they get started? Then I guess the question I'm trying to
Just go on keep.com/self-service.
really. That's
Yeah, it's
amazing.
super simple. Yeah, you just plug in your reward and boom, you distribute it to everybody in LA or whatever, and boom, you get people will take the reward. If you want to target fitness apps because you want people who are active and are capable of doing jiu-jitsu, then awesome.
Wow, that's amazing. What kind of vision do you have in the future that as a moment model being as an add-on to the impression model?
Yeah, I think it's just that. I think moments can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be on the device. It can be in your, we made an announcement a few days ago for putting rewards in connected cars.
Right.
And I think it could be in connected devices like your wearable watch and your connected thermostats and your connected fridges. I mean, pretty much anything could have moments in them. And so it's not just about the mobile device. I think it's about a whole series of things that could contribute moments that allow marketers and brands to be there to actually add value to you.
Who came up with the moment in the connected advertisement? I think that's kind of a cool idea then.
It was a collection of everybody's ideas. I think we're, as a company, a very forward-thinking group. And we've kind of always had in our head, well, wow, that would be pretty cool to reward someone for, driving and let's say making it to work, 5 minutes earlier than they normally do, right? Like that's like a cool thing that like, or finding a parking spot or maybe even rewarding them with a free parking spot. Like this is like cool stuff that we're like thinking about constantly. And like once we're able to make it a reality is when we get very excited.
I got some friends in the information business, and how does it apply to direct marketing instead of just ad marketing? How does the concept of moment apply to direct marketing?
Yeah, I think direct marketing is perfect for it because not only in the moment can you build your brand, but you can actually convert people and track that, right? So I think direct marketing is an art that has a lot of metrics associated with it that have a lot of conversion and purchase dynamics behind it. I think very few channels allow that DM to actually succeed, whether it be email or physical mail or in trade shows or in group selling. But I think when you look at online, because you can actually look at less waste and more conversion just because it looks at people who actually claim a reward and actually go and convert, then it becomes a better equation overall, it becomes a lot more efficient.
Interesting. What is your some of the historical performance when some SMB business use your platform?
Yeah, we've got some pretty awesome success rates. I mean, it depends on really what they're trying to do. If it's just driving sales, I'd say almost 80% of our customers walk away with a positive ROI within the first 7 days. So they're able to generate more money back from what they spent in the first 7 days of using us. Some guys take a little bit longer if the products cost more, right? And it's just one of those things that happens with a typical marketing channel, except we just do it faster.
Gotcha. Man, I wish I have more time to dig into that topic of marketing with you longer. What is some of your proudest moment as a life entrepreneur?
I think just starting my own company, having that there, having an operation that's running without me needing to be involved every single second of every day is also really cool. I think generating our first dollar was cool. I mean, there's some cool stuff there as part of our moments, and then passing, of course, like multiple milestones, like our first $1 million quarter, which was a long time ago now. There's a lot of this cool stuff that we see happening now that is really exciting.
Tell me about the moment when you first earned your first dollars from the Key platform. How does it feel?
It felt great. I mean, we brought on our first customer. We saw the rewards go through in real time, and people actually redeemed them. It was very cool to see that.
Can you share some of your personal habits that you believe contribute to your success?
My personal habits are actually pretty terrible. Like I multitask, I get distracted, I travel a lot, my email habits are terrible. Like I don't archive. I mean, generally speaking, I'm pretty bad at basic things that should technically be contributing to success. I think the one thing that has helped though is that I am extremely focused, especially when I have a task at hand that I need to accomplish, and I'll just do it, right? And just getting one thing out of the way and getting it over with is something that people are usually not that great at doing. And so as long as you can clear your mind and finish one thing for that day, quite honestly, it's more than enough for a lot of entrepreneurs, because we just get dragged into everything. So, my plan tonight is to just hibernate and get like one big project done that I want to get done, and do it every day, and you're gonna be fine.
Okay, I know that you are pretty well connected. How can you really stay focused when a phone rang, or you have a friend on Facebook or Twitter, or I saw you have a Google class, and you have a lot of things going on and kind of rob your attention.
Yeah, I think we are, as entrepreneurs, kind of usually victims of the tyranny of the urgent, right? Something that happens to be urgent, you will always address it right away. I think one thing I've learned is that if you are in a position where you don't need to address something that is not important but is urgent, I think you've built a structure around you that is sustainable. The moment you have to address something that's urgent but not important is a little bit taxing on you, because you're not actually adding to any bottom line. You're just doing it because it's important. It's just urgent. There's a lot of urgent things, but it doesn't have to be addressed right away.
You also build yourself as one of the youngest person to ever receive VC funding. How do you feel about it?
I don't care about that now. In fact, I never really cared about it. It was just fun to have a title. I think people are focused on very very title-driven things sometimes, which is fine. It's fun for them to do it, but I'm more focused on building my company right now.
Do you have any sort of internet resource like Evernote that you're in love with and you want to share with my audience?
Well, Evernote is one. What's another one that I use frequently? Evernote. Box is pretty awesome for storing all your files and sharing them. I think people use it a lot. There's another one called iTriage. Not iTriage. It's called Triage. Triage. And what it is it's a email, like Tinder for email. Like you can take your emails and then swipe up and down to archive and keep your emails, so you can see that.
Gotcha. I saw
yeah,
that.
so
That's wonderful.
So if I don't want this, I can just so this is like an Uber receipt. I don't need it. I can just archive it. Oh, there goes my battery. But those are that we can do.
That's awesome. So, Brian, if you could recommend one book to my listeners, what would it be?
A book. There's a book that I recently, well, not recently, but this is the book that I read that inspired the company. It's called Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely.
Oh, okay,
It's
yeah.
pretty awesome. It's a great study on behavioral economics, and I think most people should read this if they want to understand how people think.
That's interesting. Brian, got one question, last question for you. So, uh, imagine that you woke up tomorrow morning in a brand new world, identical to Earth, but you knew nobody. You still have all the experience and knowledge you currently have. Your food and shelter are taken care of, but all you have is a laptop and $500. What would you do in the next 7 days?
And I knew nobody, you said?
Yeah, you knew nobody, but you still
With
have
the
all the
food just
knowledge.
taken care of, so the $500 does not go to food?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about food or shelters.
This is just pure $500?
Yeah, $500 and your laptop.
Do I have internet access?
Of course.
That's so easy. Yeah, I would just start building things back up from scratch. I think you just start meeting people, go to events, pinpoint a list of people you need to go and then be your first few customers for your business, and then find people in an existing career that is bored of what they're doing right now and want to go do something exciting and recruit them to go do it. The $500, I don't even think I'll need to use it until way later down. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. It's honestly something I may not even need to use for the first few weeks because I already have my food and everything taken care of and my internet's already there. My computer's there. It's fine. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
That's amazing. How do you want to be remembered?
Me?
Yeah.
I think it's like some type of a legacy. I don't know. Like I want to be remembered as a nice guy, to be honest. I think that's the first thing. I don't know if I don't want to be that guy where like nobody shows up to his funeral. Just because. I don't think I think my funeral will be held in space. Something cool like
Space.
that. Yeah,
You need to sign up for Richard Branson trip then.
Yeah, exactly.
Brian, I really enjoy listening to your journeys and your stories. It's really inspiring. So give Success Nation one parting piece of guidance. Share the best way we can find you, and then we say goodbye.
Yeah, to find me, the best way to reach me.
Yeah, share with the Success Nation one parting piece of guidance. Share the best way we can find you, and then we can say goodbye.
Okay, yeah. The guidance I said is like create your own luck. I think that's ultimately one of the key measures or paths to success is you can't rely on people to bring luck to you. You gotta find it yourself. The second is you can contact me by Twitter. My Twitter account is Brian_Wong.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty simple. It's the fastest way to get a hold of me. And that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate your time, Brian.
Okay. Bye, Michael.